Welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness, thought-provoking discussions and bold ideas from the edge of possibility.
And welcome back to Cutting Edge Consciousness. Freeman Michaels here with Barnet Bain. Just got done talking to Gregg Braden about all kinds of crazy stuff.
I love that guy.
Unbelievable.
I love that
he's coming back.
Yeah, no,
you pinned him to the wall there.
I did.
That was great.
We roped and we hogtied him. If this was a rodeo,
Barnet, the producer, knows how to get a deal done.
We'd have him
out him publicly.
Well, you know what? You got a good guest, you got to book him. You got to book him.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Took us a while to get Gregg. We extended a few invitations, and they
come on, he's a busy guy.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have him, and glad we could maximize the invitation.
Yeah, we did. So look, I'm not done with the conversation. The personalizing as a place of power, as a position of power, versus projecting it out and making it about somebody else or the bigger thing, and trying to collect everyone to agree with our way of doing it, versus making fundamental change in our own lives and watching the ripple effect impact the world as we see it, perceive it, and experience it. That's a major
Did he
shift.
say that?
I said it.
Oh, good.
I think that was that's my wording.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me, did he say that? Yeah.
Well, I heard him say that. He said it in as many words. He said he's talking very clearly about intention, the underlying intentions. Where are we coming from? He's looking to encourage us to ask the question, well, where am I coming from? Am I coming in it from moment to moment? Am I looking to the world for what I'm going to get from it, or what I'm going to give? And so what you are speaking to in this moment is how can I unfold myself that I can bring more of myself as a give to everything that I do.
Give myself to a world that's unfolding.
Yeah.
Versus tracking back to everything the way it's been and saying that's how it should be, because the folks that are doing that are going to have a tough time going forward. And it's okay. It's not a better or worse thing.
No threat, just an awareness.
For me, it's an awareness.
It's periscope up.
Yep. And it's it's also, I'll be honest with you, it's also a gut check, because there's a part of me that likes to track back. You know this. We've talked about this for 2 years. So the idea that I'm willing to launch into the unknown, we were talking about this at lunch, about going into a space of mystery.
You noticed you had the onions for lunch. Speaking of
smelling the onions.
Well, speaking of going into the unknown.
Yeah. Well, I had them grilled. It was nice. But it is the idea of taking a little risk. I'm trying to tie together that idea with where I was going.
Risk. It ties in completely.
Well, and risking what we've known in favor of the unknown. So instead of, as you put it earlier, reaffirming what we know, it's about learning what we don't know. It's about moving towards a level of vulnerability and openness, exploring possibilities beyond the construct, beyond, at least in terms of competition. I see the pattern as less and less effective, and the alternative, which is generous, is the offer for me to learn to collaborate and cooperate and co-create.
As we've said often on the program, these habituated responses are developmental.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily bad or good. They are developmental, and they are more or less effective. And there was a time in my life when that kind of competition, the crush it model of competition, was sufficiently effective to get me from where I was to where I am, though with increasing difficulty, and not terribly effective anymore. I like how Gregg frames it, that there is another paradigm of competition that has to do with bringing your best so that you uplift yourself and inspire others to greatness. That kind of competition is very new. It's an exploration for me as well. I was really most drawn to where we got at the end of our conversation when Gregg began to speak of the field. He said that the whole time-space construct is the field. It is a field anyway. It's the field in which we are playing for the most part when we are in ordinary consciousness. And that in that field, all possibilities, because all ideas of time exist.
Yep.
So the storyline, the narrative that we are headed down into an abyss, or we're headed into one catastrophe or another, that exists only to the degree that we are wedded to the wedded to those particular outcomes, wedded to those particular responses. As long as we meet life from the same kind of responses that generated those stories, then we can fairly accurately predict where that's going to go. But we are free to shift that at any moment. We can entirely shift that. It's by no means a foregone conclusion. And the last thing I want to add to it is per every individual on the planet.
Yeah, can I say something about this? Because one of the things that we've brought up before is that oftentimes a reaction in either way, either a complacency or a reaction, overreaction, that it's bad and we've got to get everyone on board and it's a catastrophe. Either one of those is not helpful. So we've talked before.
You are creating energetically. You are selecting into the field your worst nightmare.
Yep.
Or your highest dream. It's whatever is the lightning rod for your most intense expression of energy.
Yeah.
So if you're pushing back really hard on a shadow piece, then you're devoting a lot of energy to that struggle.
This is a helpful conversation, and it's one of the conversations that I think
the dingo conversation.
It is the dingo conversation.
You got to loop back. You got to bring our audience into the dingo conversation.
Yeah. So what do they call it? Caught Up in a Cause was the name of that show.
You're like the Rain Man of Cutting Edge Consciousness. Who would have remembered that?
I don't know. I write the titles. Feeding the beast is the language I have for that sort of way of saying, wow, there's this beast in the room. There's this beast in the room. Energetically, we're feeding it. Versus I'm the beast. And to the degree I can have compassion for myself, unwind my own fragments. This is where we started the whole darn show, is that I'm really seeing this competitive piece, how destructive it is, and it's showing up everywhere. It's time for me to respond to it. So, again, the propensity is to say, it's out there, see the world, it's so screwed up, as opposed to saying, my world, my experience is showing me the imbalances and the disintegrated aspects, and my imperative is to integrate, because it's showing up in my experience, and to the degree I'm willing to own it, I can be effective.
I want to add one additional thought to that. Again, we are working with the field. We're co-creators with the field. We bring into being, we bring into manifestation, or we become relational with what, as you say, what we are putting out.
Yeah.
So if I have a big fear story about, if I want to be healthy and I want to feel good in my body and I want to have longevity and I want to have vitality, there's a certain energy there.
Yep.
If I am afraid,
yep.
If I want that because I am afraid of sickness, I'm afraid of being infirm, I'm afraid of being impaired, if I put that energy in and it's 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, and I desire to be healthy simply because of the fun of it, the opportunity to explore, to be hale and hearty, that is 5 out of 10. What energy am I likely to engage in the field?
Yeah, you're tipping towards struggle. You're going to find yourself in a whole lot more struggle with health than you would have if you knew what you were trying to promote.
So there is a balance between understanding the challenges that we all face personally and systemically in the world. I got a bunch of emails recently about the Monsanto Corporation, the evil Monsanto Corporation, and GMOs, and I thought, well, Who knows? I don't know. Maybe GMOs are part of the solution. Maybe they're actually good. What if they were part of the brave new world? I don't know.
You're going to get a whole lot more
I'm gonna
emails
get
now,
a lot.
Barnett.
I don't
you
know
just
that
drew fire.
I don't know that they are. And
I'm not.
I want to just finish
go
this
ahead.
up. I don't know that they are, and I don't know that they're not. And my head is not in the sand, but I am willing to hold a space of compassion and understanding for myself, for the system. I am willing to not feed too much doom and gloom.
Yes.
I am
Yes,
willing.
I support that.
I am willing to feed my attention into that it will work out in the best possible way. I will take action along the way that is that feels in alignment, but I will not get too caught up out of acting out of a fear story.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
even if I am acting to save the whales or save my neighborhood, if it's out of fear, I am feeding a fear story.
That's right. So we're not talking here, because I'm going to jump in here. We're not talking about a kind of complacency. We're not talking about
we're still advocating activism,
Yes.
but out of a love and growth story,
That's
not
right.
as a
That's
reaction
right.
to not
all
as a
right,
reaction
you just
to
saved
bad
yourself
guys.
at least a couple dozen emails. At least.
Well, at least we're going to get some listener feedback.
Well, wait a minute. I think that it's a really great point, because even though you stepped on the landmine, it is really landmined. I put the D.
The
at
mind.
Whoopsie daisy. That's good. That was a good slip.
It's very nice.
Thank
It'll
you.
end up
Here's a
being a
professional
title of a podcast.
It will be landmine. That's exactly right. It brings up a really good point of the integrity conversation, where integrity means integrated, where I'm able to respond constructively versus feeding the beast, versus running
It's about
down the
where
path.
am I coming from.
That's
if
right.
I am coming from fear,
That's right.
underneath the candy coating of all the good things that I am doing,
Yeah.
if it is motivated by a desire to control,
Yep.
then I am feeding control.
You bet.
And what will be mirrored back are all kinds of forms of control. The function of it, I may be estranged from. I have to develop the X-ray vision so I can read into the function. If I
What's
am
the deeper truth? What's the deeper truth, Barnett?
If my desire is that GMOs are or Monsanto, that if my desire is that for all to be for people to live happy lives that are fulfilled, that are healthy, that there are increasing opportunities to gain more and more ability to respond and more freedom, if that is what I am feeding, and one corporation or another is inconsistent with that, as long as I'm feeding that, that will fall away.
Well,
if
that's
I go
why
to war with it,
that's
I
right.
am only feeding war.
That's right. And that's why we had Zena on talking about fair trade and how she's doing her business from a place of heart and from a place of consistency with her values. And
I don't remember what I had for breakfast. You remember we had Zena on. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And we have to shut up now.
It's over?
Sorry,
We're through?
buddy.
We're finished?
We got to shut up. All right, listen, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to invite you to keep coming back.
I want you to invite them to come to our
Barnett
website
wants you
as
to
well.
like us. Oh, and come
come to our website.
Yeah, cuttingedgeconsciousness.com.
Maybe you
Like
could
us
like
on
our
Facebook.
website.
Keep coming back. Thanks for listening.